This time we're live now, like just like that. I just hit a button and people can hear us now. That's how ready I was for this. Boom! Hey everybody, it's bonus content. It's me, Alex O'Neill, and Brian Option Jackson's here, and Scott Guthier's here. It's Scott's brother's birthday, so Scott might dip out a little bit. Don't freak out. We're live now, like just like that. God. I can hear myself. I just hit a button and people can hear. That's a good thing. I left the stream up on the computer. Freaked me out. It is good. People can hear us at least. Welcome back. We took a week off. We're back. I have a theme for this bonus content. Because I have no one to talk to but you, Nabeshin. So like I got to get this out. But I had a great time in Boston. Thank you to everyone who came up to me and said hi. Introduce themselves. Thank you to the editorial team for all the hard work they did. We still have stuff that we are doing and putting out and making. But I'll kind of reiterate that once we get into the real show. Nabeshin, I've been watching these Mission Impossible movies, my dude.
Like how far are you in?
So I watched Ghost Protocol 2 nights ago. So I feel like you probably haven't watched that yet.
No, I should watch that probably like tomorrow or something.
I like to do 2 at a time, or I've been doing 2 at a time, just because like I don't have like a lot of time to watch movies. Boy, man, these movies are fucking wild. This is also the first kind of funny in review for point of reference for listeners, viewers, if you are unaware. The fine folks over at Kind of Funny are doing it. They do a weekly show where they watch a movie and review it, typically from a franchise. Currently, they're in the middle of Mission Impossible in review. I've listened religiously since about halfway through their first one, MCU in review. I've literally never watched a movie alongside them up until the Mission Impossible movies. And you came in on Spider-Man. No, you did MCU as well, right?
Yeah, I started from the beginning.
Yeah, you were day one. It's been a very weird experience, like watching along with, after like listening to this show for so long. It's been really fun. It is fun because I'll have moments, at least with the Mission Impossible movies, where I'm like totally zoned out. Like the whole end of Mission Impossible 2. Fuck out of here, man. I don't know what happened. I just remember so much revving of a motorcycle that it was like vibrating my head in a way that I thought I was going to fall asleep. To be fair, that's like the weakest of the movies, but these movies are fucking wild. No future spoilers. I won't ruin Ghost Protocol at all for you. I had a great time with it. How do you feel? Because this is the first time. I've never watched a Mission Impossible movie before this. Worth noting as well.
I've only ever watched the first one.
First one is what a great fucking movie, dude.
It's really good, right?
It was like I was so surprised at how much it held up. And the scene in that movie. Again, having never actually seen the movie but seen it parodied to death. I'm trying to think of like another franchise that I've had that same experience with. Recently, I can't, not off the top of my head, I can't think of it, but it was really cool seeing it. And that scene is so good. Like the heist scene is incredible. Like it's super well shot. It's super tense. It's dead quiet the whole time. Man, that movie's great. It's ridiculous, but I love these movies. I love all of them. I love Mission Impossible 2. Mostly for the scene where the two of them are in the cars and it's just spinning around over and over and over again for like 15 minutes. There's like an awkward charm to these movies that I was just so unaware of like all like the really weird, super kind of too slow zoom in camera shots on people's faces. And all of like the scenes that just go on for way too long. Just like shots that go on for way too long. Mission Impossible 2, certainly the guiltiest of that, but there's some in 3 and 4 and 1 as well. So, how are you feeling about them?
Yeah, I'm really digging them. Like one that I've seen like multiple times in my life. I've seen that in theaters. I remember going in theaters with my parents to go see that. I was 10 years old when that movie came out because that was like 1996. So like yeah, I just remember seeing that in theaters, and like then it was like on syndication on HBO. So like I watched that every once in a while coming up, and I just remember seeing that all the time. And I just never seen the other ones for whatever reason. Like I don't know. Like Mission Impossible 2, that movie, like you said, like that one's been parodied to death, but like I never took the time to watch it myself, and like I never really knew the reason why. And seeing it for time, like it's so weird because that movie but it was such a boring movie, and like pretty much when they at the last island, Ethan tries to get the stuff from that jail cell or wherever.
Chimera.
That's when the movie just like it's just complete nonsense, but like, hey, but also just
Is the internet working?
The internet's working.
Okay. Nabeshin, I think you're cutting in it. I think your connection might be a little weak.
He might be the dead boy. Nabeshin, start being the alive boy.
Live, boy, live! We can't hear you. Just if you can hear us, it sounds like there was some lag going on. I'm looking for my bottle opener. I can't find it. I usually have one down here, but it's gone. How are you doing, Scott?
Pretty good.
Have you ever seen a Mission Impossible movie?
Not that I remember, no.
Oh, man.
I think I've seen like one James Bond movie, maybe.
Okay. You probably see GoldenEye. I feel like everyone's seen GoldenEye.
I don't think it was that one.
Did it have Pierce Brosnan in it?
I don't know.
We lost an option. He's the one with like the dark hair slicked back versus Daniel Craig, who has blonde hair.
No, it was a blonde hair one.
Okay, Daniel Craig then. There's like... Oh, hello, Nabeshin.
Welcome back. I've never seen a Mission Impossible movie that I can remember.
Fair enough. If you're talking Nabeshin, I can't hear you. What is your in the bottom left of Discord? Does it say green audio?
Yeah, you guys are on slow motion. I'll probably just restart my connection.
Oh wait, now I can hear you. Can you hear us? Oh, nice.
And he's gone again.
That's okay. He'll restart. The first Daniel Craig James Bond movie, Casino Royale, is my favorite James Bond movie. Which I have Justin Graffius watching us in the chat right now. He's watched like every James Bond movie. I'm curious what his favorite is. I feel like a lot of people say GoldenEye, but it's kind of boring. Like, not a lot happens. Pierce Brosnan just kind of walks around and talks to people a whole lot. And it's kind of lame, in my opinion. Do you like action movies, Scott? I mean, Marvel, like, superhero movies aside, do you like just general action movies?
Generally, yeah. Because, like, I enjoyed the Bourne series.
Yes.
But
Bourne's
then again, I generally don't watch movies.
Yeah.
So
hello, Nabeshin.
Hi.
Now
it's very limited.
Now it's fine. You sounded fine right at the end. But I couldn't stop you before you left.
Well, you guys were all in slow motion, so like I had to like leave. That's why I left.
Cool. Well, it's working now. Mission Impossible 2, super boring at the end. You said that was the last time I coherently heard.
Yeah, it got really really boring near the end. No, I was saying like I felt like the movie was boring in general, like just in certain parts or whatever. But like I was near the end, like it just became this complete nonsense, but nonsense in like a good way.
Yeah.
Because like pretty much as soon as like Ethan gets onto like the island or whatever, wherever they're at, where the jail cells are at or whatever, like it just goes off the rails, and like everyone were with like like everyone's wearing sunglasses, like literally every character is wearing sunglasses, just like going around everywhere.
Yeah, it's like so charming though. I was surprised at how charming I found those movies. So I love action movies, right? Like I just don't watch a lot of movies, kind of like what you were saying, Scott. Mm-hmm. Like I love the Taken movies. I think they're super fun. They're ridiculous, but they're fun. I like pretty much any Liam Neeson action movie. There's an action movie where he's on a plane. I can't think of the name of it. Nonstop. That's what it's called. Fucking excellent movie. If you just want like a tense action movie in a cramped space, I think Nonstop is great. Man, the end of Mission Impossible 2 is just buck wild. Like, that movie came out like what 2000.
2002, yeah.
And it's like you can see, like, I get it, like that is a very 2000 movie, like in a very similar way to like the second and third Matrix movies. Like, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know if you've seen those. But like the first Matrix movie, I feel like made a lot of sense in the same way the first Mission Impossible movie does, and then Mission Impossible 2 is just fucking off the rails, dude. I like it though. I liked it a lot.
It was funny because like what was it? Oh, yeah, my nephew kind of trying to get in contact with me. Like it was funny because like it seems like the plane crashed. And I was like, huh. I'm like, this has to be before 2001. Like, yep, surely enough it was. Like, okay, yep, totally makes sense.
Yep. And it's like, man, yeah, the whole like everything about the airplane scene in that movie is like, this isn't how this works. It's just like ridiculous. Yeah, and also there's just the pilot of the airplane, quote unquote, survives just to be killed off screen in the next scene. Like, why? Like, and I guess it's supposed to be like a lead that there was some kind of foul nature to the original plane crash. It's like, what is, like, this makes no sense. Everything about like the core relationship of that movie makes no sense. But that actress is gorgeous. I don't know who that is. I don't know if I've ever seen her in anything else, but
Tandy Newton.
She's gorgeous. Mission Impossible 3 though, I've been loving watching your and Barrett's tweets about the movies. You're right. That movie is fucking crazy. Like,
that is so intense. It is so intense, dude. Like the first second, it just gets so intense.
It's,
and like I said,
unbelievable.
And it's like I said, that part with him just running, like I don't know, man. I'm just so like fascinated and like mesmerized by that scene alone, because like
incredible.
It's like one shot, just him just running for like a minute straight.
It's the God of War of movies. It like, because I've not really been into Tom Cruise before, so like I've known his whole stunt thing of like he likes to do his own stunts, but like they really utilize it in like a cinematography way in these movies that is like really impressive. Specifically like that shot of like he's just the guy doing it, so we don't have to have cuts of switching between like a body double and him. It's just like this continuous shot of Tom Cruise performing literal feats of inhumanity. Like and I was totally with you, like the his opening scene in Mission Impossible 2 where he's climbing the fucking rock face. I was like wanted to throw up the entire time because I fucking hate heights. It was that, and there's a similar like height related scene in 4. And I was like so uncomfortable the whole time, and you just know it's just Tom Cruise just there living that moment, and it's like, this is horrible. I hate this. But it's incredibly impressive. Yeah, the one shot in I think it's in 3 where he gets like thrown against the car. Whew, man. Yeah, it's some crazy impressive shit that he does. It's cool. I get it's kind of cool to me to know that there is a human being out there that is a literal Nathan Drake. Like he can do all of that.
Sure.
That is kind of cool. And you know, that's his thing, so he can own that. Jackie Chan in a similar way is like in his thing, but in like a way more niche genre of like kung fu movies and whatnot.
Right.
And that's like the only other one I know. Yeah, I've been really enjoying those movies. The end. The end of Mission Impossible. Yeah, Where are your personal rankings of them the same as the kind of funny folks?
More or less. I just put 2 as number 3, but like, I don't think that's a good movie, but like, I enjoyed most.
Yeah, I wasn't ready to like throw it all the way at the bottom, you know.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the rest, but like, apparently it just gets higher and higher and higher after this. So like, I'm excited.
Yeah, I enjoyed 4. I'm excited to see what they think of 4. I'm really excited to see Fallout, which is the most recent one.
Yeah, same here.
Apparently, that's like far and away the best one. And that's crazy to hear. 3 was really good. You forget about Philip Seymour Hoffman, but that dude could fucking act.
You don't forget about Ving Rhames, though.
True, yeah. He got a lot of villains. Sean Ambrose. God, fucking what a piece of shit.
You don't know who Ving Rhames is?
No.
He's the black guy.
Lawrence?
Lucius, I think it's.
I don't know if it's Lucius. Well, now we gotta fact check this. It's not Luther. It's not Lawrence. Mission Impossible. Ving Rhames. Luther. It is Luther.
Oh, okay.
That didn't sound right. Oh. He's great.
Yeah.
I've never seen him in anything else.
Like the only other noteworthy one I can think of off the top of my head is like Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would not have seen that. Nabeshin, how's your last couple of weeks been? How you doing? How's life?
I've been fine. Actually probably even a lot better than usual.
Good.
Yeah, like my work's gotten to a point now where like I can have, for lack of a better term, I have more of a life around it now.
Good. That's good.
Mostly because like some of the workload has been taken off of me a little bit because like my boss has realized that like hey, like you're handling a lot on like Fridays and Saturdays, and like those are the reasons why you're out so damn late. But now that we have more people here, like I'm lighting the load off a little bit, you can actually have a day. And like I appreciate my boss a lot because like it's not like he was blind to any of this, but like because he saw like how dedicated I was to get the job done, no matter like how long it takes to get it done, but I get it done. And like he really appreciates everything I do for it. So like he praised me, and he was like, hey, then now I'm just gonna like lighten this load for you finally. Like, I'm sorry you had to go through this for so long. I'm like, yeah, I appreciate it. So
it seems like they've been really good about it too, of like letting you know like that you're doing a good job and everything too, which is good. Mm-hmm. It's like a really, I think it's a thing you can easily take for granted in like a good boss.
Yeah, and it's also the same thing. Whereas like we were at a meeting, and I was like, hey, I just kind of need to talk after this. He's like, yeah, sure, fine. And like he's like, what do you want to talk about? I'm just asking like, hey, am I just doing okay? Because I just don't know.
Yeah.
And that's when he praises me. So like it's like one of those things where it's like I had to kind of ask for it.
Yeah, I think
praise for it, but it's fine.
I think if you're doing good enough that people are just like so accustomed to it, sometimes that's like better than any alternative.
For sure.
Good. I'm glad that you're getting that work-life balance. It just you're a hardworking man. You also bought tickets to Evo.
I did.
Plane tickets or event tickets?
Event tickets.
Okay, still gotta get those plane tickets. We're sending you to Vegas. We're gonna party it up.
We'll see.
Official Irrational Passions correspondent. I wonder if I could get you press access to Evo. Maybe we should look into it. If you're interested, maybe we could look into it. Okay. But I'm excited. Are you pumped?
Yeah, like I have like 2 of my friends who are actually like competing in it. Like weirdly enough, so cool. Like one of my friends, Eddie, he's been like a virtual fighter like player since I've known him. And like no one plays virtual fighter that much anymore. Like not at least like in a big scene or like in a more visible type of way. But like Eddie's been on it for like forever. And now obviously he plays Street Fighter and stuff like that. So like it's cool to see him finally like rise up to that point where he can like actually be there. And I think he's actually even sponsored at his school. has like an esports program, and like he's part of that now. I just found this out like today, so like I was like, oh wow, that's fucking awesome, man. And my friend Marcus, who I've known forever, but like and like you can pretty much say like Marcus with my friend Travis as well in a way. Like we've been like the fighting game like trio kind of type of things, but like we don't hardly hang out as much as we used to. But like my friend Marcus, he wants to like try him for like not Street Fighter. He's doing Dragon Ball Fighters, and I think Tekken 7 as well. Just to try out for himself, because he just wants to see like what he can do. Like he probably doesn't think he can get that far, but like he just wants to try out Edo just for himself to see how it's like for him. And like I'm like cool. So like I had people to cheer on, and like awesome. Yeah, I really just want to be there for that atmosphere and just like see how it is. Like I have no. Yeah, hopefully. Like I have no idea like what I'm in for. Like I don't even know if I'm just gonna be like sitting there the entire time or just like be involved. Like I know they have stations where you just like play fighting games like anywhere. Mm-hmm. Like I find like an obscure fighting game like in a corner somewhere, and I can just play that and just have fun doing that because I've done that like in anime conventions and stuff like that already. Mm-hmm. So like yeah, I'm just going for fun. So we'll see how that's like. Like I don't really plan on like gambling or anything like that, but like if it's the opportunity's there, I might just try it just to see.
Yeah, throw some craps, dude. That's awesome, dude. I know like just you in the room where the Dragon Ball Fighters finals were happening. It's gonna be hype, I'm sure. Like it was so good that I tuned in, and I never watch fighting game tournaments. So I think being there is gonna be awesome. Cool. What's the word on Kid Goku in Dragon Ball Fighters?
Like the impression so far, or like
what do people think? Does he actually turn into Super Saiyan 4? Somebody tried to tell me a rumor that was true.
I don't think that's the case. I think he might just turn 3 and like for his super, and that's it. But like no, the people are just like, oh, it's another Goku. Yeah, that's pretty much the consensus about it right now. So like he's not out yet, so like we don't really know like how good he is or how bad he is. Mostly nobody's really that bad in like Dragon Ball Fighters. It's more of like where you can execute him and like how much you like pretty much dig him. Like I know my friend Marcus would probably automatically gravitate to him because like he's always like Kid Goku because like he's kind of like a fighter that no one really ever uses. Like even like in the old games, no one ever really used Kid Goku, but like Marcus always did. Like usually whip our asses with Kid Goku. So
yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's a Goku in Fighters, so it'll probably be fine. I feel like he'll probably be a little bit tougher. More people use him. Yeah, I don't know, that's cool. I'll say I appreciate the GT representation. I don't have any disdain for Dragon Ball GT. So
I don't have any either. It does fuck up some stuff, but I was like, it's fine. It's another fighter.
I consider fine. Like GT is like the fun. It's like the Christmas special of Dragon Ball. It's like I don't necessarily consider it canon, but it's like a fun time and it's worth a watch. They're talking like they finished Dragon Ball Z Kai on All Systems Goku for your reference, Nabeshin. You should really listen to that show. I think you would really like it.
Dude, I just got started with Mass Alex. I can't just devote to something else already.
I know. Listen, Mass Alex, you're gonna burn through though. I gotta catch up on Mass Effect 2 episodes, but that's also a great show, Mass Alex. I think you would love All Systems Goku, almost not exclusively, because I think there's a lot about it that you'd like. One, Dan and Jeff just fucking love Vegeta. And that's just, it gives me so much life. They just do Vegeta impressions at each other over and over again. It's very fun. But they also love Mr. Satan. And they connect with that character on like a spiritual level. It's incredible. But they talked about it when they finished Kai, of like how it ended and like what they want to do next, and they don't know yet. And I don't know, man. It seemed like they might be leaning into the idea of watching GT, and I would love to watch them watch GT. Just because it's so weird and so silly that I think they would really like it. They ended up liking the non-fighting episodes of Dragon Ball Z more than the fighting episodes for the most part.
Okay.
Which it's like the stuff that you and I like about the show, like the goofy weirdness, and they kept bringing up that people kept telling them to watch the Goku gets his driver's license episode, so
Right.
they said they're certainly going to seek that out and other episodes that are in that ilk. And a big takeaway from the final saga of DBZ Kai for them was they want a show that is just Mr. Satan, Boo, and B, and they're just their whole life, which I can get behind. Scott, what about you? You getting any shenanigans in the last 2 weeks?
Not particularly, no.
Did you? Are you almost done with school?
I mean, it's more than halfway done.
That's good. This is me rubbing my
Well,
hands
we
together.
still got another 6 weeks left.
God, man, stay strong. Are you? You have this fall semester left, right?
Yep.
But are you doing the summer semester?
No.
Excellent. Take some time off. I know you'll like work your job and whatnot, but like, take some time off. Play some video games. I went to PAX. I didn't get sick. Knock on wood. But I think the fact that I got the worst flu of my life 3 weeks before PAX actually helped me not get sick at PAX. But many other people did get sick, and we pray for them. Bless. Well, I'll talk about that mostly in the real show. I have to get a bottle opener, and then we can get started. So give me a second, guys.
I'm gonna get me something to drink then.
Okay, cool. I will hopefully only be a minute. Mike, I am sorry that you got sick. I think Jess got sick as well. And George got lightly sick. Ooh, it's been a while since I had one of those. Starting. All right. Ready when you guys are.
I'm ready.
Cool. Oh, I should think of a bet. Excuse me. Let's see. Welcome back. Nabeshin, can you do me a huge favor and think of a bet?
Sure.
Thank you. Let's get our audacities rolling real quick. Ready to go? Cool. Scott, you good?
Yep.
Excellent. On one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I was on input this week. They count from 1 to 3 and hit record on 3. Like a bunch of fucking weirdos.
I'm probably about a second or two late. I did the wrong thing.
It's all good. When I do the intros and I introduce everybody one by one, that's when I align the audio. Fun fact.
Sure.
All right, let's get started. Oh, I gotta get my pre-show puff on. What am I doing? Fucking up. I'd like to, while I take this puff, point out my very cool fan gamer shirt that I got.
Must be nice.
Someday you'll get one too, I promise. I gotta deliver on those promises before I can make any new ones. It was the correct response to my message, Nabeshin. All right. It is Saturday, April 6th, 2019, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions Podcast. I am your host, Alex O'Neill, and joining me this week, as in all weeks, we have Scott Guthier.
Hello.
And Brian Nabeshin Jackson.
Anthem. It's the anthem alarm.
That's actually what the in-game anthem, that's the song, that's what it sounds like. It's exactly that. Nailed it. We are down. Scott's like, I don't know about that. We are down one Tony Horvath this week. He told me that he has slept 6 hours since Monday. It is now Saturday. That's not enough sleep. So I told him to go sleep. So hopefully he's sleeping and not playing like Hearthstone or not Hearthstone, excuse me, Magic the Gathering Arena, or something like that. But we're back from a week off. I'm back from Boston. We're going to talk about some video games. We got so many exciting things to talk about this week. So let's just get started. First off, thank you to everyone who came and said hi at PAX in Boston last weekend. We did a lot of stuff at PAX. Myself and the folks that write and don't podcast. They're not allowed to podcast. That's what I've been telling them. The folks write and I we wrote some stuff. We did some cool things. There's a lot of stuff on our website, irrationalpassions.com, which this podcast is a product of. And you can go check it out there. I would just say go there, and there's like a big PAX banner on the front page. You can click on that. It'll take you to all of our PAX content. But for housekeeping this week, to catch you up on what's going on the website, I thought it'd be nice to pick out some of my favorites that I'm really happy with. We did a totally new thing this year that I literally had the idea to do, I would say the night before PAX, and then we went there, and I looked at Mike, our video producer, and I said, hey, can we do this? Yes or no? And he was like, yeah, we could probably try that. And then we did like 7 of them. But we did video previews where you get to see 2 of us together talking about the game that we played. The first of which I'm really, really happy with is Control. I got to play some Control, which is Remedy's next game the game following Quantic Break. Why would I say that? Quantum Break, not Quantic Dream, Quantum Break. But yeah, Mike and I got to play Control, and we talked about it. It was not like it's not the demo I would have preferred for that game. It was a sandbox demo where we were literally kind of thrown into an atrium and just walked around and shot our guns and whatnot. But it was a cool introduction to that game as far as like how it's going to play, what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like. I do want to throw a hot take out here. Not my hot take. A take from one Blessing Adeoye Jr. from OKBeast.com. He said the Control demo was the worst video game demo he's ever played in his life. Which, it seemed a little extreme. I'm not trying to put him on blast, but he kept telling that to everybody, and I want to tell everyone that Control's fine. I was really happy with that. I got to play a game called Nirvana, or N1RV space on -A, which is the follow-up to Valhalla. We're going to talk about this in a minute because I want to talk to you about it, Nabeshin. But I wrote a preview about that. You can go read that. Our own Logan Wilkinson played Days Gone and wrote about it, and you should read it. He's optimistic, which is good.
That seems like the consistent for most people who actually played that game.
Yeah, and I guess it was the same like build wise as like the recent preview build that people got to spend a few hours with. So it was running well and it looked good. A lot of us got to play Sayonara Wild Hearts. I played Sayonara Wild Hearts. Very, very cool, stylish game. Jess and George, Jess Cogswell and George Cruz Alvarez got to sit down and talk about their experience with the demo. You can go check that out. George finally got to play Streets of Rage 4 specifically, which is the folks that made Monster Boy are taking their incredible art, or Wonder Boy, I forget which one it is, because I'm terrible with names as is, and they had to make it so similar. He finally got to play it. He's a huge Streets of Rage fan. I got to play it at PAX West. We sat down and did a little podcast about it. And the last thing I want to highlight, there's a lot more than this, like way more. I think like 23 pieces right now. We still got a couple of things coming. But the last thing I want to highlight, Gearbox would only let one member of press from each outlet in like priority to their panel where they announced Borderlands 3. We sent Scott White, who's as far as I know, the only actual Borderlands fan on staff. And he wrote up his thoughts, the pros, the cons, questions left unanswered. And I thought it was a really good breakdown. So if that whole presentation was a total mess, in my opinion, but some people are really excited about Borderlands 3. We're probably going to talk about it a little bit later in the show. I personally am not, but I think Scott White brought out some good points in regards to it. So that's a little sampler of some of our PAX content. There's a lot more than just that, and you should check out all of it if you can. And there is a couple more things coming. I would say by the time this podcast publishes on the website on Tuesday or Wednesday, everything should hopefully be up. That's my goal. But there's only a couple of things. I got to talk to one of the folks what made Cuphead, and that was a great conversation. That will be a written interview going up soon, and I'm really excited about it. I played some things at PAX. Did you guys have any questions about them? Did you want to talk about Nirvana, Nabeshin?
I know nothing really about it, honestly, other than that it's a sequel. So
I have some questions because I didn't end up playing Valhalla, and I just want to kind of bounce them off of you. So Nirvana, Eastbrid is publishing it. They've done a lot of cool stuff. I think, oh god, there was one that they published at the beginning of this year. I will not remember the name of it, but it was like it was Y2K, I think was the name of it. It was like a cool-ish, like hipstery RPG, like turn-based RPG. So they publish a lot of cool little indie games. Like they're similar to a Devolver or an Annapurna or Adult Swim games when they were still around. as far as like they find cool games and publish them. So Valhalla was one of those games. I'm going to ask you this because I didn't play Valhalla. Was Valhalla like really serious?
It could be, but like mostly it's just about just having conversations. It's not really. It's more about like just having a conversation with someone and just like having just a discussion about it. Like if that person gets serious, you can have that conversation. But like you're just a bartender, just having, just talking to somebody. That's all it really is about.
If you want that to be a comedy game, you could probably make it a comedy game.
You could probably make it funny. I mean, like, because the Nirvana is also that, right? You're a bartender and you're making drinks and doing that. It's a couple of differences I'll get into in a sec, but like I guess my big question is, when you're having these conversations, is the subject of the conversation usually like something pretty serious?
From what I played of it, like I only played like maybe like 6 hours of Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't think it ever got super serious. Not like like I had an abortion or something like that. No, nothing like that. I don't think.
Because I feel like Nirvana gets there like right away. To be fair, I played a like maybe 10-minute demo, and it was like one chunk of one conversation with one patron. So you play. It takes place in a much better off city. So Glitch City from Valhalla was like worst of the worst, like what you would assume in a post-apocalyptic cyberpunk future. Like this is how one of the PR people kind of phrased it to me, because I was asking this similar questions. It was like kind of like a low income city area bar, like right, like in the center of that kind of culture, whereas you are in a much nicer city, in a much nicer area, in a hotel bar in Nirvana. You play a woman named Samantha. She goes by Sam. So the one conversation I had was with a woman who went by Parka. That was like her pseudonym that she went by. She had never drunk before. So she was like coming in the bar like, hey, like I've never really drunk before. What do you recommend? I guess so this is different from Nirvana versus Valhalla. All the drinks are real drinks in Nirvana. So like it's like rum and coke, like whiskey sour, stuff like that. And all the ingredients are like real ingredients. I guess they were all fake in Valhalla.
Sure.
Sure, alcohol, whatever. But yeah, so like she came in, she's like, I want something sweet. I like fruity things. I made her screwdrivers, vodka and orange juice. And then we started talking immediately, very serious. And I'm not trying to make it light of any of these topics for point of reference. This is just the experience I had with the demo. To anyone listening there who might be sensitive to some sexually related topics, this is your warning. Specifically sexual relationships between family members. The person that you were talking to was like, they described themselves as an adult fiction writer. I guess it sounds like they might write like manga of the adult nature. I don't necessarily know for sure. I don't remember clearly enough. But it quickly like turns into a conversation of like, yeah, I wrote this. My most recent story was about a mother who like forces herself on her son sexually. And I was like, okay, this is very heavy. And it's interesting how like the character Sam kind of takes that, and like they very open dialogue, not a judgy dialogue. But the game, like, she talks about how a specific blog or website picked up this most recent piece by her and started taking panels out of it, out of context, and posting them on the website to kind of like build this hate mob, which is already in of itself very like relevant. And then it kind of evolved more into a conversation about her, Parka, as a writer, trying to write fiction where children are more vulnerable, right? Where they're not innocent, they're not colored as always innocent, and they make bad decisions. And she said that she tends to write about like sexual fiction because there is less control from a publisher, right? Anyone that is more willing to publish that kind of fiction is going to be more hands off than someone who's actually trying to tell a more serious story. And that was that she was kind of like trying to find her outlet for that. It's a very, very serious, like very in-depth conversation. And again, it all happened in the span of about 10 minutes. And it was cool. Like, I don't think I got the feeling that this was a very earnest and genuine attempt to talk about something that is like not fun to talk about in a game through like this lens. And then it's kind of revealed at the end that Sam, your character, has an 8-year-old son. And the character that you're talking to, Parka, has like this like, man, I didn't even know. It's like, it shouldn't make a difference, right? Like, it doesn't matter that you wrote about this and are talking to me who actually has a son and is a mother. Then if you want to stand by it, then you need to stand by it to anyone you talk to. So it was like a really, really like meaningful conversation, I would say. And that was like, this was their taste test for Nirvana, and what that's going to be. So I was really impressed. Like, I was like, man, I really got to play Valhalla. Like, what have I been doing this whole time? But yeah, I would say like, keep in mind if those topics are kind of difficult for you to reconcile or talk about. But especially like, I've not listened or watched the Game Grumps episode in reference that you and I briefly talked about Nabeshin, but like, I think it is really trying to have a more open dialogue or at least a challenging dialogue about things that go on today, and things that people don't talk about. And it didn't feel shitty about it. Like, it felt like it was trying. I guess like there's been some blowback against Nirvana specifically because the trailer they put out, like, the Sam, your character, is like a big-breasted woman, and it's like a weird anime dramatic trailer. I think I watched a little bit of it. I think it was the trailer that people were complaining about, but people were a little unhappy with that. But I don't know. I was surprised, just because like you and Tony always told me how chill Valhalla was, and it was it was a super chill experience. As far as like mixing the drinks, making them, giving them to the patron, and kind of talking. But the things that were being talked about were a lot more serious than I expected. But I was impressed. I was into it. I think that's the only like necessarily relevant to the hosts on this podcast game I played. There was a few other things that I was really into. Creature.
I appreciated yours and Jared talk about Katana Zero. That game looked interesting to me.
Cyber Shadow or Katana Zero?
I thought it was Katana. It was one of those.
Katana
they're
Zero,
very similar.
Yeah, it's another ninja game. Cyber Shadow was very cool. That's like the game that Double Fine is publishing. That kind of has Messenger vibes. I think that's because that's the one Jared and I talked about. That game's cool. It was like really cool to talk to like the one dude that made it, and he's been working on it for 7 years, and this is like the first time anyone's ever been able to play it. I was like, how are you feeling? He's like, I'm fucking terrified. But then so like I talked to him during the press hour before the floor opened on Thursday, and then I talked to him again Sunday. I was like, how are you feeling now? He's like, I feel really good. And it was like, oh, like heartwarming, like, oh, this is awesome. Like, people have come and flocked to your game, and obviously Yacht Club Games is publishing it.
You said Double Fine.
I did say Double Fine, and I fucked up. Yacht Club Games is publishing it, not Double Fine. But the other two standouts for me that I would recommend to you two to keep your eyes on: No Straight Roads, which I talked to you about Nabeshin. It is it's impossible to describe it. It's a lot of ex Final Fantasy 15, ex Kingdom Hearts developers. So programmers, composer assistants, people who've done some of the music, combat designer, the combat director from Final Fantasy 15 specifically. A lot of different like Japanese developers like kind of broke off to make their own studio to make this game, and it aesthetically reminds me a ton of Psychonauts, in how like the characters are kind of loud and they make a lot of jokes, and it kind of looks like Psychonauts, and they have like kind of lanky arms. It plays a lot like Kingdom Hearts, a little bit simpler, I would say. At least I played 2 demos. One was later in the game, and that was a little bit more along the lines of what I would expect. But it's just got so much pizzazz and style. It was just enthralling. I loved every second I played of it, and it's like about this music world, like where you go into these kind of homes of these different genres of music, and that genre is represented by the villain. So like the first boss is like an EDM boss, so all of his music is electronic music, and he's like a big robot dude. It's cool. So you're fighting against the NSR, which No Straight Roads is the corporation that is controlling all the music in the world. It's very cool. It's very stylish. I'm working on something for it that'll hopefully go up on the website. But regardless, you should just look it up and look at it because it's very cool. And then the other thing is Creature in the Well, which was actually in the most recent Nintendo Indies showcase. It is like Pinball or Breakout meets like a top-down Zelda game, where you are, walking around and doing puzzles in a Zelda-like way, but a lot of what you're doing is like using your sword to bat like balls of energy and have them knock against like little tickers or walls to charge up energy and then break out, and you can like charge up balls of energy and knock them back and control them in front of you, like hover them in front of you and then blast them all out, and you can have like multiple balls of energy at once. It was really cool. Seeing the idea executed upon in front of me was really cool. Like the trailer that I saw during that Indies Direct was already rad, but seeing it actually moving in front of you is even cooler. I was really impressed by that one. If I hadn't played No Straight Roads, that would have been my favorite game I saw. And I saw a couple other things, but nothing necessarily.
When did those last 2 games come out? Do we know?
No Straight Roads is apparently spring of this year, but I would bet that it's going to be a little bit later than that. And then No Straight Roads is PC and PS4 only. And then Creature in the Well, which I believe is PC and Switch, that is summer, is what they're aiming for. So they're both this year, so soon. Either way, I'm excited about both of them. I think that's it. Let's talk about other video games. Scott, have you been
Just
playing?
left.
He
No,
just
didn't leave yet.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I will go before we do the break.
Okay.
So
Video
I've
games.
been playing some more Wizard of Legend.
Mm-hmm.
So they came out with a patch that fixed the game's difficulty, because what I found out was everything was locked to stage 3 difficulty.
Nice.
So everything had stage 3 health, stage 3 enemies were spawning, everything like that.
Like a nightmare.
And I was like, I remember this game being just about this hard. I just don't remember being that bad at it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that was the reason.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I changed up my build a bit.
Okay.
As it turns out, when I was using my Phantom Army, I was also using the same build I used for the Vortex playthrough, which is you leave a pillar of, it looks like an obsidian pillar.
Okay.
You walk away some distance, then you teleport everybody around you to that obsidian pillar in a vortex. And it just constantly does damage to them for a good 2-3 seconds.
Cool.
What I comboed that with was a wave dash and an ice spear. So you would lock and freeze people to walls Yeah, you could lock and freeze people to walls. You could use wave dash as both a shield and a gathering tool. To gather people up, and then you would kill them with your ult.
Very cool. You got that hot combo down.
So what I did this time instead is dashes don't really matter all that much. So I swapped the ice pillar out for ice spear out for obsidian cascade, which is you shoot like 5 rocks out.
Damn. That sounds like a cascade. 5 rocks is enough rocks to take me down. I'll let you know.
They're also pointy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did that, and the new strategy was run. Your dudes will take care of shit for you.
Cool.
Phantom Army spawns 5 dudes that beat shit up for you. So it's you throw them out, you run away, and you use Obsidian Cascade on cooldown after that. Keep your distance.
Keep your distance. See, now you're playing my kind of way, Scott.
So how that run is I went through the first couple levels fairly easily after the patch. I picked up another Vortex move, which gathered enemies. And that almost killed me.
They're calling for you, Scott.
Yeah.
You can go. We'll fill there.
I'm going to be gone for like 20 minutes.
That's fine. We'll figure out other games.
Anyways, that's how that run went. I ended up beating that final boss with 1 HP left.
Fuck yeah, dude. The tension. Tell your brother happy birthday for me. Nabeshin.
What's up?
Video games. Video huevos. What you been playing?
I haven't been really playing much of anything, honestly. Okay. It's like miscellaneous shit, really. I do want to like point out something real fast. Something I just did recently. As recently as today, because like it's been my 50? Because it's been my own entire fucking day, and I didn't mean it to be. But like apparently that's something I've been doing on my Twitter. So
let me see. I want to see what number 1 is because
I haven't been there. I haven't finished it yet.
It's still going.
That's what I'm saying. It's been all day. I decided to do it this morning, and then like I just been, and then it's like it took me like 2 hours to like actually make my list because like I actually had to think about everything because like like I think about like because what brought this on was like me thinking about like game of the generation. Like if I were to do that right now, like where would that be? And like
for reference, you created a Twitter thread for your top 50 games of all time.
Yeah. Yes.
The first tweet 9 hours ago. I love it.
But that's kind of what I've been doing all day, like kind of unintentionally, but like I'm actually kind of somewhat proud of it, even though I have like 10 more to do. But like I just wanted to put it out there. It's like,
yeah, no, I saw it. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna wait for this to finish, and then I might go through. These are some good picks. I'm surprised Valhalla made it number 50. Spoilers. That's cool though. Relevant to what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's like like I was just thinking about stuff recently, and like where stuff like sits with me because I haven't really thought about it since like maybe like 2015, around when The Witcher 3 came out.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of where that sat in with me.
What about when Persona 5 came out?
Well, I knew that was either like number 1 or number 2, so like that wasn't like a challenge.
Fair.
But yeah, like that's just where I'm at. Like, if you want to take a look at it, that'd be great. Let me know that you've seen it. And I just wanted to say thank you if you do. So, because like a lot of people have been giving me good feedback about it, so I appreciate that.
It's good. I'm surprised at some of these picks on here. I'm happy to see like Final Fantasy VII in there. I'll take credit for that. Can I use this as a segue real quick to talk about one of my games?
Yeah.
I feel like you and I, we're on a similar boat. We have like our kind of favorite games in mind a lot of the time. Mostly, I think, because we replay games. I don't remember the last time like the list got shaken up. Do you remember? Would it be like Witcher 3 for you? Probably.
Yeah, because like with Witcher 3, like I never thought something would be because like previously my top 3 was like Kingdom Hearts 2, Final Mix, Mass Effect 2, and like Metal Gear Solid 3. And I never thought like something would break that top 3 like almost ever. And then like when Witcher 3 came out, that broke my top 3, and like that's how much I love that game.
Yeah. That is where I'm at with Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
Okay.
It's weird, and I'm excited to talk to you about it because like it's been 2 weeks. I've been playing it pretty much, save for when I was in Boston, where I was only exclusively thinking about it. I've been playing Sekiro like every day, and it's weird. Like I thought about maybe inserting like the conversation about like easy mode as like maybe a topic that we could talk about, but I'm honestly just exhausted by the discourse about it that I don't really want to. But I'll maybe throw out my kind of take on that in this. But I love this game so much. Like I go back and forth in my head, and I haven't finished it yet. I think I'm like, I would guess I'm either on the second to last boss, or after the boss that I am on, it's going to open up a new area, and at the end of that area will be the final boss. I'm not sure yet. It's probably the latter. But one, it's always great for me to go through like a From Software game, like in the vacuum, right? Not necessarily knowing a little bit about it. I'm not streaming this one, so it's like I'm giving myself a little bit more leeway to like, if I just want to know what the fuck to do with this NPC, I'll just look it up. Like I'm not going to beat myself up about it, you know? And I still plan on reviewing the game. So, I'm not trying to like ruin the whole experience for myself. I treat those games like very special, like because they're so obtuse and out there. I like to like spoilers for From Software games are like a big deal for me. Of like what this NPC can do, how many endings there are, things like that. So like I take playing those games without knowing anything pretty seriously. Sekiro is like, it is that formula in some ways. I don't want to necessarily compare it to Dark Souls this whole time because I do think that does it a little bit of a disservice. I would more comfortably compare it to a Bloodborne, but it's like 12 steps beyond that, I would say.
What about Neo?
I wouldn't compare it to Neo. I would say like Neo is way more rigid, like Dark Souls. The thing about Neo that keeps fucking me up is that you have to go out to like a world map and you have to select missions. It's just like it's so weird. Like Sekiro is like Dark Souls 1 over for me again. Like in that, like it is like the highest highs I've ever had with a From Software game. And part of that is the combat, right? I don't know. Have you played it at all yet?
Yeah, I played like a good chunk of it. Nothing to really talk about it with, but like it's probably something I'll go back to eventually. Like right now, I'm just not feeling it, but like it's something I'll probably go back eventually. I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in a weird way, it's kind of like my Devil May Cry 5 to you. Like I had really high expectations, and we've talked about kind of some of the more popular games that have been more disappointing for you and me over the last year or so. And it's been so nice to have a game like exceed my high expectations, like kind of like Breath of the Wild did for me, which I guess would be the last big shakeup for me. But there is being able to jump, weirdly enough, and it being such a vertical game makes it just totally different. But it is the same in that like there's like a little nook that you can kind of jump onto this ledge and then get around this corner, and then there's a whole secret there. Like it's that same bullshit that's been in Dark Souls since the first one, since Demon Souls even, but like now with this whole new layer of verticality to it. And now I'm thinking about like, how do I get up on that roof? And I've never been able to do that in a Souls game. So it's just scratching like this totally new itch. So like the exploration aspect of it alone is like the best I think it's ever been. And part of that is like, it's a Japanese game set in Japan, and it's like way more straightforward and streamlined. But also the verticality to it and the grappling hook and this and that, like all these things that just make it such a joy to play. but just the simplified moment-to-moment action is some of my favorite action I've played in a video game. The clash system, like the deflecting attacks and then like parrying and going and just how I could be in a sword fight for 10 seconds. It feels like an eternity and so much happens in just such a short amount of time. And then either they win or you win. It's so intense and so rewarding. It's incredible. Like, I just love this game so much. I love how it plays. I love how it looks. I love the story. Like, I love how it's like a way more straightforward thing. It's like simultaneously, some people are calling it the hardest From Software game or whatever. I don't know. I couldn't say. But it's also like the most accessible one, you know, because like there's a mechanic in a From Software game. Let's say we'll use Demon's Souls because it's the most obscure. There's this whole mechanic of world tendency, right? If you die over and over and over again for a very long time, like 50 to 100 deaths, eventually your world tendency will go from pure white, which is where it starts at, to pure black. And that means all of the enemies get stronger. People will try and invade your world more, and they can invade your world more. That's not a thing anymore because that game's not online anymore. But at the time, and you are like more susceptible to harm. But the rewards you get for killing enemies, you get more souls, more things, and you can turn that world tendency around. That is never explained to you at any point in that game, ever. The shitty thing about Demon's Souls 2 is like there are doors that will be open or closed if you have pure white or pure black world tendency. And again, no way to know that but trial and error. There is there's a mechanic in Sekiro where you, in this old monk temple, you'll find this big bell. And it's like, there's a little sign next to it. It's like, don't ring the bell, demons. And it's like, all right, I'm going to ring this fucking bell. You ring the bell and you get an item and it like a big text pops up on screen. And keep in mind, like text only ever pops up on screen if you beat a special boss or if you die and resurrect or whatever. In this one, it says like evil enchanted or something like that, something along those lines, or curse involved or curse begun. And you get this item that's like this the curse of the demon of the bell has cursed you. And it says like when you have this curse on, and it just straight up says when this happens, when you have this curse on, enemies are harder, they do more damage, but you get more experience and you get more money for beating them. To get rid of this, just use the item again. And it's like very straightforward, but it's cool. Like it doesn't lose any of the mystique of being like this cool demonic bell that you found in this ancient temple and rang it, and now like things in the world are a little bit different, enemies are more aggressive. It doesn't take that away, but it is more straightforward about it. And I feel like as someone who loves that kind of senseless bullshit, I loved it still. And it being more kind of explicit about what it does and how to get rid of it didn't hurt it, you know? So like that's an example of the way this game is trying to be more out there, more like kind of trying to front load a lot of like what From Software does. But there's still equally as obscure bullshit. Like all the NPC side quests are just as obscure and ridiculous as they ever were. But sometimes like item descriptions will say like, hey, Dogen, who's in the cursed dungeon, might use this item. So it's like, okay, I'll bring it to that guy. And then sure enough, bring it to him. He's like, oh, I could use that. And it's like, okay, cool. And I got an item and I got this and that. Man, it's just so good. It's firing on all cylinders for me. Where I'm unsure of where I fall yet is I think the highs are the highest they've ever been for me, at least personally. I think some of the lows are some of the lowest they've ever been. I'm not in the same boat as everyone else. I don't think this is From Software's hardest game. It's weird to compare it. I think in some ways it might be their easiest game, like actual challenge wise, just because it is way more about like pattern recognition and kind of more straightforward like mechanics. It's still hard as hell, and beating a really tough boss is still really challenging. And more times than any other From Software game have I beaten a boss with no healing items left and a sliver of health left. It's like happened, I would say, like 6 times with 6 major boss fights in this game. And I think like it is designed to be that tense, and feel like you're just kind of scraping by. But like when you do get caught on something, it is really frustrating. You have to kind of play it differently. You have to really take a step back and be like, all right, I gotta just learn this boss's patterns, and it's more about that, and it's more about learning how to parry every single attack than it is about kind of like getting good at dodging on time, right? I don't know, man. It's so good. I really like that game. It's, I've been back and forth on it in a lot of different cases. I think there's some technical issues, like it's jittery because of this whole frame pacing issue that I guess From Software's always had, but fucking Digital Foundry ruined everything for me. And it is choppy, like it feels choppy when you're playing it. You can tell. I've been playing on PS4 Pro for point of reference, but it is also just one of the most immensely satisfying video games I've played it so long. I think it's like very easily my game of the year so far.
Nice,
which is cool. Like obviously, Kingdom Hearts 3 is kind of in its own echelon. I don't know if it's the same with you and like Devil May Cry.
Yeah, kind of. I'm pretty much the same where you're at right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're like, it's weird to put Kingdom Hearts 3 as my favorite game of the year when maybe I liked other games more, but they didn't matter as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't have as many problems with Kingdom Hearts 3. It's not like it's soured with time. Like 2 months out, I'm still like feeling really fucking good about that game and how everything went. It's just a matter of like there is something about this game in particular that is like the culmination in a lot of ways of what From Software has been doing and the kind of games they've been making, and it really feels like them saying like, we have broken away from this kind of game design that we were maybe more restricted to before, and we can take the kind of bare bones necessities of that format, of the Souls format of like attacking on L1 and R1 and really just pluck it out of there and put it into something totally different and have it be totally new and radical and crazy. Like it felt like almost as if someone was like, you guys can't even make a real third person action game, and they're like, yes, we fucking can. And they just made it, and it's like so much better than I could have hoped. Yeah, I really like it. Do you have any questions about it?
Like for me personally, like I don't know, because like I don't know, like when I look at Sekiro, like it seems cool and everything like that, but like it doesn't seem like a Bloodborne to me. Like I don't know what to really say about it, and I don't even know why I even feel this way. But like I mean, like
not as interesting as Bloodborne, would you say?
I guess. Maybe because like I'm just so in tune with that culture in general, like the whole Sengoku like thing with like everything else that's wrapped into my life, more or less, because I'm a stupid weeb. But like I don't know, like maybe because I don't know anything about Lovecraftian stuff, and that's why Bloodborne is just so much more interesting to me. And like a whole, like when I look at Bloodborne, I get like so immediately interested in, like I can watch stuff on that. Well, with Sekiro, it's just like I watched stuff and I think it's really cool, but like I just don't think it compares.
That's interesting. I think that that's not unfair. I'll say, but like you're right in that I think it's cool. What's especially cool about Bloodborne is it's like this very much Japanese culture take on that like fiction, like and that's what's really cool about Dark Souls, in my opinion, is like it is this kind of like Eastern reimagining of Western fantasy, and that really sticks out. Like I think the way that they approach like dragons and dragon lore and traditional fantasy in Dark Souls is like really fucking cool. and it's metal as hell. I'll say, and I think it's weird because like I think the samurai shinobi like theming of Sekiro is like way more comfortable territory for From. Obviously being a Japanese studio, it feels like there's like a confidence here that I didn't feel in those other games.
Okay.
There's like a comfort, right? Like it's like saying like, okay, yeah, we've been drawing castles and shit for 6 years, but let me show you what a fucking real pagoda looks like. And they like really blow it out, and really like the level design, moving around areas, and like the way things are interconnected feels like they're flexing in this game almost to an extent. And it does it in Bloodborne too, to be fair, but I don't know, maybe it's just connecting with me more here, and maybe I'm kind of reading too much into it, but I feel like there is like a confidence in the way Sekiro's narrative and its world is delivered that I didn't get from a Bloodborne or a Dark Souls. And that is like home field advantage at its best. That's the vibe I get, at least. I think like they're also kind of telling a pretty cool shinobi story. And it's funny because it's kind of the story of Dark Souls 1. It's like a reimagining. It is totally like a similar myth taken into a more grounded area, like a grounded period that actually happened, versus like fantasy world that Dark Souls 1 takes place in. But it's about like endless resurrection and this kind of idea of the undying and being unable to die and unable to be killed and unable to kill, which is very much like the themes of Dark Souls. That and Light and Dark, of course. But it's, I don't know, it's really cool. It's working big time for me, at least.
Okay.
But I see what you're saying. Lovecraft is like, there's nothing like it, you know? It's just really rad.
I guess it's like stuff too, like the bosses in those games are so interesting, and like I don't know, like that's the way you just have to approach everything just so differently. You can switch weapons and stuff like that. It's just like just different things. Like not that I switch weapons, but I just use a soul cleaver because that's just who I am. But like
I use the threaded cane the whole game, so you're in good company.
But like I don't know, like I just been finding it fascinating lately, just about that, because like other than like the whole difficulty thing that's going on, like I don't really see like a good like people like not really arguing, but like I don't hear the discussions about like comparing Bloodborne in this. Like I hear like Sekiro is like the best. Like people, they're like, oh, this is my favorite FromSoft game, but like I don't get the why yet. At least that's not my understanding yet. I don't understand the why it's better than like Bloodborne in my eyes, at least.
So like for me, because I've been thinking about it a lot, and the phrase that I thought of for this podcast, like to talk about it, was Sekiro is the minimalist From Software game. It is them taking out everything that doesn't matter, and more like, and it's that confidence. I think more specifically telling you, here are your tools, here is what you can do, and it's not like a huge list. It is a much smaller list. But it's like, well, you need to do that. You need to learn this. You need to do this. You need to get better at this. You will not succeed if you don't. And it feels way more focused. Like it feels like a really focused video game. Like in a similar way of like a lot of people say better writing is writing that is more like to a point. Like you have a point and it is sharpened down. Like your point is very clear and it is about that, and you can say a lot about that. That's what Sekiro feels like to me. It's like we took out the fluff, we took out the things that maybe didn't matter to a lot of our players, and we focused on the things that do matter. That's like the mechanics, the combat, the tool set, and how it feels. And it's just about that. And I think they just nailed it. It shows that like when you take away a lot of the set dressing of their games, the core thing at the center of it is still very fucking good. And that, like them just focusing in on that and enhancing it to a degree that is like the moment-to-moment gameplay of that game is so satisfying and feels so good. That is why I keep coming back to it. I think that is what's working for me. I like minimalism. I like when you when you really push aside everything that doesn't matter and focus in on the thing that does. And I think Sekiro knows exactly what matters to it, and it's just like savoring every second of it. There's still like a lot of stuff that you can do and get in that game too. Like I think are 10 shinobi tools. I've used all of them. I think the thing is like there are 10 base ones, but you get like there's a whole upgrade tree for all of them, and like the different variations have different pros and cons to them. So like you can switch up your tool set pretty regularly, even if you have the same primary weapon throughout the whole game. And it adds a lot of variance to that if that's what you need. Even if I like tend to lean on one or two of them, I still feel like in certain situations I'm being pushed to try out different things, even really late in the game, and that's really cool.
Cool.
It's great. I've also been replaying Final Fantasy VII. I bought it on Switch like a fucking schmuck. So I spent like $17 on it or however ridiculous price it was on Switch. But you know what? That game's great. It's Nabeshin's 35th favorite game of all time. Welcome back, Scott.
Hello.
Those are all my video games, so we can switch back to you, Scott. What else do you play outside of Wizard of Legend?
I had my train of thought thrown off, so
Any other video games?
5 seconds.
You're good. 1 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi.
No, I think other than that.
That's it?
I think other than that was everything of note.
No Kingdom Hearts?
Nope.
It's done.
Haven't gone back.
Haven't gone back. That's fine. I'll
do it eventually.
There's just the one extra fight that I'd love to hear your thoughts on, but that's it. You did it. You beat it. You beat a Kingdom Hearts.
I think I can wait till the DLC.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Nabeshin, back to you. Because we kind of got all derailed, and that was my fault. I took the reins. What have you ultimately been playing outside of Sekiro, which I guess you played a little bit of?
Yeah, just a little bit of that. Played and beat Sonic Adventure again, just out of nowhere.
The first one?
The first one, yeah.
I've never been able to get past. There's a part in that game where you go to like the ruins or whatever, and I never know where the fuck to go. I just stopped playing. Just see the whale, and I'm like, I'm good, actually.
Yeah, that's the thing with that game too. It's like it's so ingrained in me. It's so second nature. Like everything to do in that game, because I played that game over and over so many times, and like it's literally nothing. Just like remember even where like the secret power ups are at, and like just generally what to do, because like it is kind of incoherent to play that game and just like not know what to do. Yeah, like, I remember like the first time playing it and like not knowing where to go, especially in those rooms, like you were saying, not knowing where to go, not knowing what to do. But like when I know what to do, like I just know what to do, and it's like it is easy. Like I even know shortcuts. It's like, oh, there's a shortcut right there. Not like a speedrun shortcut. Like I can just like go this way and just make it easier for myself.
You're fully like clipping through the entire game, getting to the last scene in 3 minutes, like straight up speedrun strats. Yeah, I don't know. You want to talk about old games don't tell you what the fuck to do. That is a perfect example of like I feel like there's no guidance in Sonic Adventure. You just kind of have to keep going into doors and in and out of doors until you find the right one. Because I watched the Game Grumps play that up until I think it's like a giant like roulette machine. Does that sound right?
Giant roulette machine
or giant? It's like a
slot machine. What are you thinking of?
Or the pinball machine?
It was a pinball machine. Or what's the other one? The one where you drop the ball. God damn.
Pachinko?
Pachinko, yeah.
There's no pachinko in that game.
Okay. I think it must have been pinball then. But I couldn't. It's just I stopped watching. I was like, I can't. This game is fucking awful. I can't. But that game is endearing in its own way.
Yeah, it's on the list. It's seriously like one of my favorite games of all time. Just like I love playing that game. And like honestly, like it's like it's one of those things where I'm playing and because like watching Mass Alex, like I just like really just want to like just hear it. I don't necessarily need to see it because like there's Mass Effect. I know what that game is and everything like that. And like plus like seeing like other people play video games sometimes like bugs me a little bit. It feels like, oh, you don't know what to do, you should know what to do type of thing. But I'm not that type of guy really. So like I'm just playing Sonic Adventure while hearing Vinny and Alex like yuck it up, and that just makes me happy. So
me too, dude. That's exactly what I do too. So you're in good company, man. Just hearing how much Vinny loves Mass Effect just
brings it up like almost every episode.
I know it just makes me smile every time. I'm smiling right now. I just love hearing how much he loves Mass Effect. Once you get into 2, it just doesn't stop too. He's just like, man, this game's so good. And I was like, fuck yeah, Vinny, you know. What else you been playing?
I think that's generally it. Oh yeah, I have been playing a little Ninja Gaiden Sigma on the side. Just because I've been charging my I found my charger for my PS3 controller, so I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. And yeah, that game's still great. I just want to get more into it now because like I love that because like I've been on a character action game kick after beating Devil May Cry 5, so like I just wanted to play like other ones. Like I have Revengeance on the Xbox One just because it was free with Games with Gold, so like I have that so I can eventually go back to that game again. And I haven't played that game since like probably 2014.
Nice.
And yeah, Ninja Gaiden is something I haven't played in a long time, and like just playing that game differently. And like it's funny, like it's funny playing Ninja Gaiden because it's somewhat similar to Sekiro, but not as in your face with their combat type of thing, you know, like yeah, it's like it's similar but it's different, but like it's just interesting playing that game and like comparing it to Sekiro. Yeah, they're both fast, quick game and both punishing games. So yeah,
it's funny because I feel like From has used their Souls formula to carve out their own space in character action, right? Like they are action adventure games, action RPGs, or character action games to some extent. Like I would say Sekiro is the most character action of them because there's like actual combos and skill trees and a little bit more like along the lines of like a Devil May Cry of how you level up and upgrade and stuff like that, versus the others which are very much RPGs. But it's cool. Like they like kind of like fought tooth and nail and really laid their own claim in that space now. And I think like Sekiro like is like the culmination of that, and it makes a lot of sense. It's like it is the most arcadey, I guess, of one of those games, weirdly enough. But it's really cool. It's just they made something weird and then it slowly evolved into something that happened to fit into another genre, but is still totally different from everything else in it. It's rad. It's like video games are so cool, man. The fact that can just kind of like what Wolfenstein did for like shooters and then their first person shooters, like it's super cool to see that in the modern day and age. Sorry, weird tangent.
Oh, you good?
Anything else?
And like the only other thing that I just want to mention is like I put in my Portal 2 disc into my PS3, getting ready to play that eventually.
Excellent. Any reason as to that, or just whatever?
I mean, like it's one of my favorite games of all time, but it's something I haven't played probably since like 2012. Like it came out 2011. I remember playing the co-op with Chris Riccio from Interactive Distractions, but like we only stopped like halfway. We never finished it together. Then like I eventually like just played with someone online to beat the co-op mode like that. And like I haven't played the campaign of that in literally forever. Like I played Portal Still Alive like recently, maybe like 3 years ago, but like I'll play that again just because like, you know, it's like an hour or too long, so that's not a big deal jumping to that. But like Portal 2 I haven't played in forever, and like I still regard it as like one of my favorite games of all time. But like I don't really remember too much from that game. I remember moments, like I remember how it ends. I remember Wheatley. I remember all this other stuff. But like
yeah,
I haven't played that game in like literally like 7 years or something like that. So I think I just need to like give it a go again.
yeah. Let me know how that goes because you got me curious. Because I think the last time I played it, the most recent would have been like maybe 2012. 7 years ago, you know, like yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it's 2011. I mean, Mortal Kombat 11's coming up, so you're just maybe thinking of Mortal Kombat 9. I get you. Same day. Yeah, I don't know, man. The moment to moment writing of that game, I couldn't tell you anything. Like the lemons and make grenades thing is like the only thing I remember.
You have a shirt of lemons, right?
Yeah, I do. I have a shirt of that. I don't know
Wow,
if
dude.
I don't know if it fits me anywhere. I thought it was so funny. Like that whole character. I think he won like a bunch of awards in our game of the year that year. I think.
Was it Cave Johnson?
Cave Johnson. Yeah, totally. I couldn't remember his name for the life of me. That's fucking J.K. Simmons. God,
Yeah.
that game was fucking rad. You're right.
Yeah. Like honestly, I'm excited to try that game out again. I want to be Portal still live first again. Like I said, that's only like an hour or two long, so that's not that big of a deal to do that again. But going to Portal 2, like I can't believe like it's been like me being a person who replays games all the time and playing my favorite games all the time over and over again. Like I haven't gone back to Portal 2 ever.
Yeah.
So like, man, I just need to do that.
Yeah, that's a good pull too. Yeah, it's man, what a crazy game. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I have a couple of things, a couple of fun topics to talk about. And then we'll take some questions and end the podcast forever. And then end this episode of the podcast, I should say. If you have questions, you're watching live, you can tweet them at Irrational Pod with hashtag IPQ. I would really appreciate it. Would love to have some more questions in the mailbag. But otherwise, we will be back in just a little bit.
Choo, choo, choo.
I just have to. talk about some news. Video games happen. Borderlands 3 was announced, you guys.
Yeah, that happened. Yep.
Did either of you watch this thing they used to announce Borderlands 3?
I was at work, so
No.
It was bad. They so I guess Gearbox publishes other things, so they announced or shadow dropped Risk of Rain 2, which is now available on PC, which is cool.
That was the other game I played.
Oh, there you go.
It was Risk of Rain 2. There we go.
What do you think,
that game was
Seth?
good.
The game, it seems really good. Everything I've heard has been very positive.
Oh yeah, that game was very good. Yeah, so it's fairly unfinished because
it's early access. Yeah,
we expected that. As far as balance goes, they did a pretty good job with it.
Mm-hmm.
They really kind of need those extra items to come out for us to really know if that's the case, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because while it seems like they did a pretty good job, it also seems too RNG based to get some of these quests done.
Huh.
For example, if things do not go like the one in particular, I would say is the hardest one to do is to do 20 teleporters in one run.
Mm-hmm.
And now this might not seem like a problem if you just rush for the teleporter, because if you know Risk of Rain, hey, every second you spend playing is the game getting harder.
Yeah.
Not just stage by stage. But when you go up a stage, you go up 1/3 of a difficulty.
Mm-hmm. That was the coolest thing in my opinion about the first one, even though I didn't play it that much.
Mm-hmm. So it's even. That being said, you fight things, you gain money, you open chests to get items. And your levels is the only way you can increase your base damage.
Okay.
And right off the bat, there is no character that is good at everything. The most versatile character, called Multi, who is very good at single target damage, and he's very good at clearing mobs, but he's only good at clearing mobs when they're far away because he has a piercing type thing. He has a piercing cannon, and then he has the fastest attack speed for bosses on his other weapon. But it's when they start really piling up later, you cannot clear them quick enough. And if you don't pile on the right items, his affinity for bosses goes straight out the window, taking you sometimes 5-6 minutes just to clear a boss. And this is as you're approaching Teleporter 12.
How many minutes does it take before it goes up a full difficulty level?
Depends on what initial difficulty you set it on.
Okay.
We'll just work in easy, medium, and hard.
Mm-hmm.
For easy, it's roughly 6 minutes.
Okay.
So, yeah, roughly 6 minutes. So you will hit the last difficulty minute setting, which the game never stops getting more difficulty. You just can no longer see how difficult the game is past the last one. It's a fairly good chunk of time, but it's at the same time you need a good 4 minutes to clear out an area for enough things to spawn before you get enough money to clear out an area.
Okay.
And as that time compounds, you will eventually hit a point where, okay, the only thing you can do, you will eventually hit a point where you hit the teleporter and you will be there for longer than it takes to earn enough money to open everything on that level. And that happens roughly at teleporter 8. So you have 12 to go at that difficulty, so on and so forth. And it eventually becomes there's not enough stuff in that game to keep you going for 2.5 hours, which is the time that it will eventually take to go through those 20 teleporters.
Yeah. It's It sounds promising for like how early it is, though.
And it doesn't get any better when you add characters to the mix and mix and match items.
Yeah.
I would say, because it doesn't just increase the amount of health things have. It increases the amount of it puts more things on the map, but it evenly distributes it between 4 people, so you're not actually getting any more per person. And then everything costs more.
Huh.
So you have to wait even longer per stage to get all the money for every item, and so on and so forth.
But so far, so good.
So far, it plays very well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there need more of the items and stuff need to come out.
Cool. I'm excited to hear it as it develops. I know Jarrett Green, who is a huge fan of Risk of Rain 1, likes what he's played of 2 quite a bit, and Scott White also a fan. So at the Gearbox panel that was held at PAX East, they announced Risk of Rain 2, or at least released it. It had been announced before. I don't know if it was known that Gearbox was going to publish it. Release, they did a cool promo with that if you bought a copy, you got a free copy as well on Steam. I don't think they're doing that anymore, but I think there was some other stuff, but it was like 45 minutes of them kind of like bloviating, and they had the main stage at PAX East, which is like 2,000 people can fit into that room to watch this show. At some point, Randy Pitchford was doing magic tricks. It's a real thing. And then they were like, all right, here's the next Borderlands game. And then it like didn't work. They had to like fix it and then get it to work again. It was like everything that could have gone wrong or could have been handled poorly was. And they showed the trailer, the announcement trailer for Borderlands 3. It's Borderlands 3, some returning characters. Reese from Tales from the Borderlands is going to be in it. That's cool. That's the only Borderlands property that I know and care about. But I don't know. It just seemed kind of like more Borderlands. Like we had a nice, great, long conversation about what does Borderlands 3 look like. I think we all settled on more Borderlands, and that's exactly what they showed. And they like, did that. That was it. And then like 5 days later, they announced the release date. And it's weird. I don't know why did they not announce the September 13th of this year? It's when it's coming out to Xbox One, PC, PS4. Why didn't they announce the release date when they announced the game? Like, why did they do the show that they did? What is special about Borderlands 3? I don't know. Like, they didn't show any. There's like a lot of guns and some characters you might know. And then they announced there's Borderlands 1 Game of the Year edition, which is like a 4K done up better version of Borderlands 1. And I forgot that the Handsome Collection, the previous Borderlands like HD remaster, was Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel and did not include Borderlands 1.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I guess, just another excuse to put that game out on PS4 and Xbox One. And it's like $30. And that like announced and released that day, I guess. It's just weird, man. I don't get it. I was bummed out to see that it was exactly what I was worried it would be, And I hate to be cynical about it, but it's just there are people out there excited about this game. I'm sure it'll do fine, and like kind of like what we talked about on the show. I feel like they can do this once. They can do like just Borderlands again once, but if they do it twice, like they're biting off more than they can chew. Like what you said, Scott. Like, I don't know. Do you guys have any feelings about Borderlands 3?
There's 2 things I wanted to mention.
Sure.
One, which was brought up on the Easy Eyes podcast, which I very much appreciated because Brandon Jones brought this up, which I was like,
yes, I know what you're about to say. Yes,
because like one of the advertising moments of Borderlands 3 was that they had like a billion guns, and like before it was like gazillion and like like just some made up number before. Now they're at 1 billion guns
Yeah,
on
it's
this
like
one.
gone down.
I was like, oh, what, you just cutting content now? Like, doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But like, I'm glad I wasn't the only one who noticed that, because like that drove me crazy.
Because I
reason.
watched the trailer once and I saw it, I'm like, I feel like that's less, but I just like dismissed it. I was like, oh, I must be wrong. And then Jones brought that up. I'm like, fuck, that is stupid. The other thing though,
yeah, but the other thing though, like I really do feel like could like here's the other thing. There's not another thing. I just want to remember because I was at work at the time, and like I knew they were going to announce Borderlands 3, but like I didn't know like how they were going to announce. Like I was at work, I was doing whatever, and then like I saw like Borderlands Game of the Year pop up like on a tweet or something like that, and I was like are they gonna call Borderlands 3 Borderlands Game of the Year? And I was like, that'd be like something big and stupid, but like that's something like Gearbox would do. And I don't know if I like that, but like that's an interesting choice to call Borderlands 3 Borderlands Game of the Year, because like they wouldn't just release Borderlands 1 by itself, and no, they just release Borderlands by itself. It's like, oh, okay, well, never mind then.
no, they did that. 4K, man, 60 frames per second.
But like to really talk about Borderlands 3, like I feel like I do feel like Gearbox has a good opportunity. Well, they kind of fucked it up a little bit, but we'll get to that. But like if they can avoid like controversies in a big way, I think this game could sell like gangbusters.
Yeah,
like more than like ever before. Because like Borderlands 2 was like a game that was kept on being on NPDs for like months and months and months after the game came out. It was like a NBA 2K or like or a GTA for a good while. A game that just kept on selling for like forever. And like, and Borderlands, the property in general, is like the most like that's like the most like female apparent game that like I know that's like you know like when it comes to men and females, I feel like there's like a huge number of females who play Borderlands and like love that series more than like almost any other game series that like I'm more apparent to, because like there's like the co-op and you can play it with your significant other. There's so much to that game in general where it's like I think it catches a really wide net that like a whole amount of people. And like I said, as long as they do it right and like come out right, I think they can have like a great opportunity to be like one of the best selling games of like 2019, maybe even into 2020.
Yeah, I think it'll absolutely do well. I think it'll sell well, and that's a really great point. And Borderlands has like a lot of diverse characters within it too. Not just, I think part of that is why it appeals to everybody, less gendered specific. And like stuff like, Tiny Tina's coming back. She's in that trailer. Things like that. So like the popular female characters in that game are coming back too. I don't want to just pin it all on that. I think it is just like Borderlands is
it's a successful property.
It's very popular for some. I don't get it personally. Like I've tried to play Borderlands, and it's funny because I like things like Destiny, which is basically just like serious Borderlands. But there's just something about Borderlands that has never really clicked with me. I think part of it is like the open world and that you have to kind of drive everywhere. I feel like that's so many games lose me. It's like why I'm kind of like I shouldn't play Days Gone, because as soon as I have to get on that motorcycle and drive somewhere, I'm gonna be like, fuck this game. It's why I like Breath of the Wild and Witcher 3, because it's like there's no like Witcher 3 you're on your horse a lot, but I feel like it's just not the same. It's not as impersonal. And I don't know what that's going to be like in Borderlands, but like so many people play that game with their friends, like 4 players front to back. So many people I know do that. So many people will do that with 3. I think it's been long enough. People have a craving for that exact kind of humor in that game. Pre-sequel came out in 2013, I think, or possibly 2014. It's been a while. I think that game's going to do great. And I like, it's not like I don't want it to do well. I just like, I want Borderlands to push this forward just like the first one did, right? Like, it's mind blowing at the time. Diablo with guns, right? Like that phrase getting thrown around was such a cool idea. I wish I knew like how good Diablo was back when Borderlands came out, because maybe I would have, in a different world, I would have gotten into it. But that set the precedent for a whole genre of the looter shooter. And
It was like the Borderlands was the game that like made us like, oh, genres doesn't matter anymore because
Yeah.
everything's an RPG now or something like that.
yeah, or like you can do like a loot game in a first-person shooter, right?
Mhm.
It's like it's a really cool idea. It still is, and people are still adding twists to it now. I don't know what the twist to Borderlands 3 is.
Yeah, it's weird because like I think it, like I said, like I think the way this game will be successful is just the fact because like this is the game people need right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, as long as they're not too gross about it, as far as like like this modern video game like stuff that we have now. Like if it's just like a season pass again with just like DLC content, people will be fine with that. But like if it's microtransactions everywhere, then like I think that would be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So like
And I think they wouldn't do that too. Like I don't think that's going to be a problem for that game.
mm-hmm.
I think there will be a thing like the keys from Borderlands 2 that we talked about, and that's it. And it's not like an issue. But I could be wrong. I'm optimistic about Borderlands from the perspective of I'm probably not going to play it. So it's like me outside looking in saying like, I bet people are going to really like this game. I don't know. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
They put out a gameplay trailer. I haven't watched that yet, so maybe it looks better.
Yeah, like obviously right now they're having like their whole thing going on with the Epic Games Store, but like that's just like after seeing Borderlands 3 becoming a Epic Games Store exclusive, like that's just like this is just every game now. Like honestly, like if it's coming to PC, it's probably going to Epic Games Store first. Let's expect that now more or less because like this is where I think more what the companies are seeing more than like the developers are actually seeing as far as like their benefits coming in, because like like if it was that both at the same time, then like I don't know, like I'm not saying it's anti-consumer, but like I just know like Borderlands was like really big on PC. That's like one of the PC games at the time for like for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So like for it not to come to Steam for 6 months, it's like wow, that's a big thing, honestly.
Yeah, it's going to affect a lot of people. There will be people that will download. Like, it is going to move versions of the Epic Game Store, weirdly enough. Yeah, I don't know. If Borderlands, like, fascinates me. But I don't think I'll ever play it. I might play 3 just because now I have people that I play online games with. Like, when the first 2 came out, I didn't really.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I have like a Division 2 play date tomorrow. I'm like super excited about it, so we'll see. Other news. I've been pulling it up on my phone as we've been going through. There is the BioWare conversation. I don't necessarily want to get into it here. I want to get your thoughts, Nabeshin, if you've kind of gotten into it at all. But I will say I was actually on this week's episode of Input, where we talked about it. It's like the most depressing podcast I've ever been on. It was very somber. But like, we talked about BioWare as a studio, like how they've been treating their employees, how their employees have been feeling. And we took it very seriously. Like anytime there's like an article about talking about people regularly like finding empty rooms just to like have a mental breakdown in, which is the state of BioWare, or was during the development of Anthem, like I'm going to take it very seriously. It's something I take very seriously. But I think we had a really great conversation about it, and about we talked about like developer talent. Like I brought up that episode of Easy Allies podcast where they talked about that, and how something that they really, really leaned on from the comments, like the responses they got to that question, was like leadership is something where talent comes into play. And I think like this, like a month later, really reinforces that.
Yeah.
For folks who don't know, like Jason Schreier wrote another one of his many kind of very investigative pieces. He interviewed 19 people that work or worked at BioWare. I think 19 current employees, and then more past that, that are all anonymous, all the internal employees still, talking about what happened during the development of Anthem. Like what is BioWare right now. It's really serious. Like it is not a good time. It is like some kind of heart wrenching stuff about that studio, and it's heart wrenching to hear about anyone going through anything at all. I don't necessarily want to give the blow by blow because we kind of did that on input, but
yeah, I think if you want to hear that, you could just pass off the input. I would like to talk around it though.
Yeah, I wanna know your thoughts on this Nabeshin. How do you feel?
As far as like me like talking around it, because like I don't necessarily want to talk about it here because obviously my heart goes out to those people, and I am exactly the type of person that like that would be in that situation. Just put my heart and soul into something and just like
destroy yourself doing it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So like I totally understand where they're coming from. I think like what I'm thinking about is like we have a Star Wars game coming out later on this year from Respawn, and I'm thinking that would have to be a Frostbite game. Wouldn't it be?
It doesn't have to be because Respawn has some kind of exception to that. Their games run on Source Engine. Technically, Titanfall. I think Titanfall 2 was just before they were bought by EA, but Apex Legends is a Source Engine game. And that was made,
but that was before the EA closure, though, because they said that game wasn't affected by EA. So I would assume that.
Maybe but like they've had some play in it. I would say that Respawn might have some wiggle room where other studios don't, just across the board. I don't just mean in regards to Frostbite, because like it seems like the contract under which they are owned by EA is different. That's the vibe I get. I don't know. I have zero evidence to corroborate this, but that would be my inference going off of the stuff they've done and how they've done it.
Because I was trying to remember like when was the time they announced that game was coming, and like I scrubbed through some like old EA E3s. I think it was 2015 or 2014, one of those two that I saw.
Yeah.
So like it was around then when they announced like, hey, Respawn is doing a Star Wars game.
They had like the people in the mocap suits with the lightsabers in the background, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So like I would assume that like they're still on the Source Engine at that time because like I couldn't imagine them just switching engines, like switching engines and trying to know a new engine and still hit that release date. Then again, we still haven't seen that game yet, so it's like, it's just concerning because like obviously this is like a big sticking point, a big issue for EA since like even since the drama, like since Dragon Age Inquisition, that we kind of found out through like Jason's article, even Jason's book, that like Frostbite is a big undertaking, and like
and like the fact that BioWare just had to make a third person version of that engine, like hey, this engine was built around first person shooters. I guess we have to kind of make it work for like a third person perspective, and they had to like make all that themselves. It's like it's mind-boggling just reading that. Like the way I kind of start the conversation on input was like, when should they have canceled Anthem? That is like the question. It is not a matter of should they. It is like, when should they have done it? Because clearly this shouldn't have happened. And it's like when that is the prevailing feeling coming out of that piece, and what the accounts like that Schreier like reaccounts back to you of people that were on that project and under that project, it's like, man, that's not good. And like, I'm still relatively optimistic. I think Anthem can turn itself around, mostly because like a big thing is like the development of Anthem was almost identical to the development of the original Destiny. Like, yeah, I mean, totally got scrapped and then redone in like 16 to 18 months. And they really turned that around. And if anything like that, they might have like reinforced it into something stronger by now. So like, I do believe that there's something to bring back in Anthem, but it's just like, at no point would it, for the actual people working on the game, would it, or should it have been worth it? It shouldn't have cost them so much of their personal stake in it.
Yeah. It makes you just like think about stuff like, you know, like this conversation we had like years ago about like The Last Guardian coming out, and like that game being what it was, and like love it or hate it, like that was a vision, and that became a game that like I said, for better or for worse, is that game.
Mm-hmm.
And you just think about like how long they've done that game, and like what that game probably went through, and like those are the things that like it's so weird. It's really even weird like how the secretive the video game industry in general is.
Yeah,
because I can imagine, like, I don't want to like put things out in the ether, like, because I honestly don't know, but like, you know, like I would assume like crunch is just like something that's like, you know, this part of the life as far as like Japanese developed games.
Yeah, dude.
Like just because of the culture and how they are, and like they're just people who are like you and me, just kill themselves to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
That's just part of their culture, and like we hear literally nothing about that over there for any of their games.
Yeah, like what if you think like Wii era Nintendo like wasn't like crunching out games left and right too, like because they're like, we got money right now, we need to put more games on this. Like you were out of your mind. Of course they were. Like like Galaxy 2 was a game that was crunched on. Like if you think like they just made another full Mario Galaxy game in less than 2 years without any like overtime, it's just like that's a fantasy world, you know. And that's like super depressing to think about. Like I'm not trying to make light of it. It's just like it is a thing that has kind of been, it is the backdrop for all Japanese developed video games, more than likely. Masahiro Sakurai has been hospitalized twice in the making of like the last 2 Smash Brothers games because he overworks himself. Like Nomura, the director of Kingdom Hearts 3, talked about how he doesn't have a life outside of video game development, and he is okay with that. Like he just works 80 hours a week and that's his life, you know? And he's proud of that, you know? It's a different culture, like you said, to be fair. But there should probably be some restrictions. Like here in Sega is like, I think they said like 85% of all overtime has been eliminated at Sega across the board. Is really cool to hear. And they're like the only Japanese company I can think of that has kind of been outspoken about that. And I'd like to believe that maybe there's better management at places like Nintendo now that is the reason that they can kind of hit these deadlines pretty consistently. But yeah, I don't know. You know,
I mean, like props to them. They canceled Metroid Prime 4, so like whatever hellscape that was going to be, like they're just trying to prevent something like Anthem coming out.
Yeah. And like it makes me ask questions of like, I wonder if The Last Guardian took so long because there was no crunch. They weren't allowed to. And so like they moved at this kind of snail's pace by comparison, but it was like a healthy pace that wasn't killing them, right?
Right, because like the big reason why it never came out on PS3 was because the frame rate was never there. And like when it comes to PS4, then it's like, oh yeah, we could finally get the frame rate where it needed to be, so like the game can actually be made. And I think it got completely scrapped when it was on PS3, and then they had to redo it again on PS4 type of thing.
Probably because the Cell engine, they had to probably remake the whole back end of that game. Yeah, I don't know. We'll never know, probably, in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
we'll never know like how much crunch a Metal Gear Solid goes through, or a Nintendo game, but it is uncomfortably close now. I think this BioWare article certainly affected me the most, and we talk about it on that input, but I think the big feeling after the big Rockstar expose, for lack of a better word, of like, this is what this culture is like in that place. The feeling that a lot of the developers that didn't work there anymore or still work there is like, yeah, we just want you to play our game because I'm really proud of it. Where like there's a quote in the BioWare article that was like, we just wanted Dragon Age Inquisition to fail so that people would know you can't make games under these conditions. And then that was their biggest success in years. And it's like, fuck, dude. Shit. So...
And that might just be like a something of leadership too, and like like even though like Dan Houser was like, like he was the guy who was like, he works at Rockstar and he's like the director of Rockstar for making like Red Dead Redemption 2, like he was there with them at the same time. So like maybe that's like something that's like, even though it's like kind of like, oh, if I'm staying here, you guys should stay here too type of thing. Maybe he didn't actually say that, but like that's the feeling that you get, because oh, my boss is still here, then I should stay here too, because like I don't want to show them like I'm a weak worker or something like that, but whatever. But like because I think about like stuff like God of War and Cory Barlog and like the way he talks about that game, and I know that he's been there through like the entire process. Yeah. So it's like, I guess it's just like it can work when you have like the someone there being there with you at the same time and like willing to like cry and bleed with you, but like it shouldn't be that way, obviously. But like, I guess that makes it somewhat better. Going through these tough times.
Yeah, it does comfort me to know that like these people there was a camaraderie there. They wouldn't like. The BioWare situation is very much like worst case scenario. Like people walking around angry, not at anyone in particular, but at everyone at the same time. Things like that, It's just like there's a toxicity to it, and then there's like the unhealthiness to it. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm as someone who is like overworked myself many times in the past on this show, on this website, it is almost hypocritical for me to say they shouldn't do that, but everyone kind of drives themselves at their own pace. So I understand why people would.
For sure.
Go listen to Input on a less depressing topic. Let's talk about leaks, Best Buy leaks specifically. Best Buy had another leak. Not enough. I guess every now and again a Best Buy thing will happen. It's being compared a lot to the Walmart Canada leak from just before E3 of last year. But some Nintendo games were listed on Best Buy's like back end that have like I think since been taken down, and there's been like denials of it, making it kind of more suspicious. But the big three. Upcoming Switch games that people think might be announced before the end of this month. One is Persona 5 Switch, and Atlas has announced that there's going to be there's something called Persona 5S, and they're going to talk about it before the end of the month. I think it's like April 26th or something, 27th, 28th, in that range. They're also going to be talking about Persona 5R. Around the same time, so those are two separate things. It seems. Metroid Prime trilogy was listed for the Nintendo Switch, which would be cool, and also The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, which is odd, and that is separate from Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, so it is not like a accidental relisting of that. People are unsure if that means it's a remake of A Link to the Past, or if that is indicating that there will be SNES games coming to Nintendo Switch in some capacity. I don't know. All exciting. What do you think Persona 5S is, Nabeshin?
Like all I can really think of was like I think it probably is a Switch version.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah, my concern would that be just vanilla, or will that be with the royal stuff added on as well?
I bet it's vanilla. That's my bet. I bet there is like comes to Switch, and then the royal stuff
I believe it is the true Persona 5 Color Edition. They're just wrong.
You're right.
They call it Sanguine instead of Tomato.
Sanguine. What a good color pull, Scott. I was going to say Scarlet, but maybe it is Persona 5 Scarlet. I can dream. Sanguine, Jesus. That's good. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it'll be Persona 5 Vanilla. And then the Royal will come as DLC to that version of the game a year later. That's my guess. I don't know, but that's my guess. I would probably just buy both, honestly, because I'm trash. I will be honest. I like really want to replay Persona 5. It's like maybe it's like my internal clock is like right there, and it's like been a year now. Like April 2018 or 2017 is when it happened. It's like 2 years. It's like okay, I want to play Persona 5 right fucking now, and it's like now it's killing me all over again to wait for whatever the fuck the Royal is. And I know when they announce it, it's gonna be like coming to the United States January 2020. It's like, well, fucking kill me, I guess. Whatever. If that does turn out to be it, I might just replay it on PS4. Whatever. Play vanilla again. They announced a Sega Genesis Mini, and I just really wanted to know if you're going to buy it, Nabeshin.
Probably not, but like I've been thinking about like a Genesis game I used to play, and I haven't played in a long time, and like I want.
What game is it?
I shouldn't.
Yeah, you should.
No, I shouldn't. Because one, it won't be on there, and two, I would have to hack it to get it on there, so that's stupid. But it's what's it called? The World of Illusion with Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck.
Oh yeah, my brother loves this game.
Play like all the time as a kid. Yeah, I was like, I was thinking about the game recently. So I don't know. Yeah.
It's cool. I love. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I'm just a goddamn sap, but I love the look of mini consoles. I kind of want to get all of them because I just want to have all the little mini consoles. But it's got 40 games on it. It's going to be $80. It comes with 2 controllers, I believe. And it's got some good stuff on it. It's got pretty much any Genesis game you would want on there.
Or any Genesis collection that's out right now.
Yeah. If you don't have a Genesis collection, maybe this is for you. But yeah, the Sonics, the Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines.
They don't have Sonic 3 in Knuckles, do they?
Let me see.
They never fucking have Sonic 3 in Knuckles.
Usually
it's just Sonic 1 and Sonic 2.
I know it has. This list only had 10 of them on there. Let's see. Sega Genesis Mini Games list. There we go. I believe they put out the whole list, which is good. All right, this is little pictures. Sonic Chaos. I never even heard of that. What is Sonic Chaos?
Sonic Chaos.
Maybe
there's Knuckles Chaotic, but there's not Sonic Chaos.
Maybe it's like a multiplayer Sonic thing, or maybe it's just a totally fake thing for this Genesis Mini. I can't find a list. I failed you. There's no good, there's only, I guess, only 10 of them have been announced. Maybe I was wrong. They didn't announce the whole list. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
It's a Master System game. That's why I never know what it is.
Sonic Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a multiplayer battle royale?
No.
I'll tell you this. The thing about Boston, I stayed in a different part of Boston this year. Nabeshin, you lived in Maryland. Scott, you live in Maryland. We have traffic circles, right? It's a thing. Typically, they're 2 lanes. Boston has traffic circles that are enormous, and they just have no lines in them. It's just huge, and people just pile into them, and there's just cars everywhere. What feels like facing every direction, coming at you from all sides. It is horrifying. It's I would say, it's about the width of a 4-lane highway. So we got 4 10-foot lanes, I would say. So about 40 feet. Huge ring, just dozens of cars in all directions. And you just go in and you kind of weave through and then you go out. And I'm like, this is the scariest shit I've ever been a part of. I went into the same one of, I think there might just be one of them in the whole city, God willing. But I went into the same one of it twice in 2 different Ubers. It was horrifying both times. That's it for news. That's all I pulled. Somewhat irrelevant, but also somewhat relevant. Let's take a peek into the mail sack. You can be a part of said mailsack in a variety of ways. You can tweet your question at IrrationalPod with hashtag IPQ. You can send us an email, mailsack at irrationalpassions.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 404-590-1337. I was off the dome. I didn't even look at the doc for that. Week off. Pshaw. Let's see if we got some questions. I know we got a couple. One is from the first one at Shibs42, MC Wright, Matt Wright, host of Three Best Friends podcast. Shout out to them. They just started their new season. Their first season was Kingdom Hearts, which I was a part of. Their second season is Pokemon. They're playing through all the major Pokemon generations, which is crazy, by the way. I would never wish that upon anyone I know. But their first episode of season 2 just went up, where they played through Pokemon Red and Blue. I think some of them played Fire Red and Leaf Green as well, which is cool. But anyway, Matt, host of said podcast, asks, why am I dying from drinking last night, yet still no shiny Celebi is to show for it? This leads me to a follow-up question. Have either of you ever gotten... I mean, Nabeshin, I know you're not super into Pokemon, but have you ever gotten into shiny hunting?
The only shiny I ever gotten was the red Gyarados and silver and gold and silver, I think.
Me too. I might have run into like one random shiny Pokemon in Let's Go recently, but I don't know. Scott, have you ever gotten into shiny hunting?
No.
Yeah.
I've gotten a couple shinies, like more than that, the red Gyarados, but nope.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
I just can't understand shiny hunting. I guess like I get it. It's like to have a full shiny Pokemon collection, you truly are a sociopath. But Jake, the other host, or one of the other hosts of that very show, has been trying to get a shiny Celebi. So for like the rare Pokemon that there's only one of them in the whole world of the game, you got to just save scum it. So he's saved in his Pokemon Crystal playthrough on his 3DS. He's saved right in front of the little shrine that you put the GS ball, and then a Celebi comes down from the sky, and then you have the opportunity to battle a Celebi and possibly catch it. And he's saved, and you reload, and the Celebi comes down, and it goes to the battle. And if Celebi's shiny, great, you did it. If Celebi's not, too bad. Next one. And there's like a 0.001% chance that Celebi will be shiny. So you just gotta, reload over and over again. This motherfucker has 5,330 some odd attempts on. He's been streaming every time on Twitch and notching the counter up over and over again. And I just can't even fathom that. He got the shiny Mewtwo in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, and it took him like 500 attempts, and he acted like that was nothing. And I just can't. It's just too much for me. I've never been in shiny hunting. I would bet that the shiny Celebi hasn't shown up, because it's a horrible, horrible fate that you've put yourself into. And you should probably drink some water if you got drunk last night. I think that might have been the only question that we got. It's good because it brought me down a weird story tangent. That's it. That's the end of the show. For the most part, we got one little thing left. If you liked the show, which I hope you did, I feel like we had some good conversations. I'm a big fan of this episode. You can rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play or Spotify. Wherever you listen to the show, that is where you should rate and review it. A couple other things worth noting. You can follow updates on the show, when we'll be in PAX, all of our PAX content. Content, that's the word. Content on Twitter at IrrationalPod or on Instagram at Irrational Passions. And you should check out our other shows like Input, video games news show, where we mostly talk about culture and the things kind of going on in the industry. Raccoon City Radio, which has just ended its kind of first run. There might be a new run in the works. We'll see. But it's where friend of the show, Andrew Taylor, and I go through all of Resident Evil 2 Remake, and Video Game Book Club, a bi-weekly show where we play games in full and break it into chapters and talk about those big chunks of the games over a few weeks. And for everything else, Irrational Passions, irrationalpassions.com. Tons of PAX stuff there. Please go read it. We worked really, really hard on it. Or watch it. There's a lot of videos that you can listen to. And there's even some interviews and audio stuff that you can listen to. For some reason, Logan Wilkinson, George Cruz, and friend of the show, Cameron Abbott, recorded on a phone a conversation while they walked to Shake Shack. And you can listen to that. I'll pimp it here. So all of that weird stuff is in the Irrational Passions Presents feed. Stop me if you've heard that one before. Another little riff off of our favorite video game website. But there's a lot of cool stuff in there. Like we do article reads. So like we'll read through an article we have and then sit down and talk with someone about it. Or weird like offshoot interviews or side things that we do. We're going to put in that feed. And we're trying to put some more stuff in there going forward. We got some stuff cooking that might be pretty cool. We've reached the end of the show, gentlemen, which means it's time for bets. Somewhere in the distance, Tony yells bets.
Bets.
Nabeshin, you want to read the bet since you wrote it?
I can.
I can read it. I have it up.
Oh, yeah, go ahead then.
Dangerous Driving releases on April 9th, 2019. In the IGN video review, how many total crashes will the player car be in? Oh, this is such a good bet. Nabeshin, fuck. So good. Dangerous Driving, a bunch of ex-Burnout developers. I actually saw it at PAX. That game is just Burnout. And I think a lot of people are probably totally okay with that. I'm going to say, I'll throw mine out there first. 13. Lucky number 13.
I'm going to say 33.
Damn. I really undersold it. Scott?
25.
Cool. I'll take the low bet. We'll see what Tony says. I'll send him the bet. Speaking of which, you did not participate in last week's bet, Nabeshin. Have you read it?
No.
Okay. I'll give you a chance to chime in here. Actually, you might already know this. If you don't, feel free to answer. If not, we'll have to opt you out. What will Yoshi's Crafted World Open Critic score be?
I somewhat know this. So.
Okay. We will opt you out. I said 82. Scott said 85. Tony said 12. Which I feel like was mostly a slight at me. And honestly, we're betting partners, and I wanted him to take it seriously.
And give you that fat 60.
Yeah, give me at least a 60, dude. Let's see what it is. It's 80. Damn, I was 2 points off. That's can I be real? That's higher than I thought it would be. I was being optimistic when I made that bet. What did you think it was, Nabeshin?
I knew it was like around 80 because I had looked at our fantasy league beforehand.
Okay, I have to check that. That's good. I didn't expect that to get me points. And you counter bet me on that one, right?
Mm-hmm. So I lost 10 points.
Fine, I'm catching up for that Devil May Cry 5. Ooh, I had Sekiro too, didn't I? I have not.
Yes, I told you would murder me this month.
Fuck, yeah. I don't know. It's going to get, once we get into the end of the year, ooh, are either of us going to buy Borderlands 3? That's the question.
Ooh, I didn't even think of that.
I didn't think about that until just this moment. You fucking scooped Mario Maker from me, so maybe that's. I think that's like an easy 88, so I can get a couple extra points. I know Mario Maker's gonna be like a 97. I'm fucking pissed about it, dude. This brings the team totals up to team about to bust a bet. My team up to 5 points. Tony, I hope you're proud somewhere. Team doubling down, still going steady, 3 points. And the Norders still going steady at 3 points. Good bets. I'm curious to see what Tony's bet for this week's bet will be. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in, for listening, for watching, for participating. in the chat. Some cool folks hanging out in the chat. Thank you, Justin, Chloe in the chat, Mike Burgess, Quentin Hoffman. Thank you for coming in, stopping by, hanging out. Thank you to Danny Wiesner for our opening music of Two Player Co-op and our closing music of The World is Saved. Thank you to Tony, Scott, and Nabeshin, as always. Love you guys. Big hugs all the way around. My final word, real quick, before we end this, as the winner of the bet, be good to each other. And if you know someone who is like having to go off into a room and cry, maybe be a positive force in their life and help guide them to a healthier, better path. Or just, be there for them. Sometimes that's all you need. Care about your friends and take care of them. They'll take care of you too, I promise. I've been your host, Alex O'Neill. Play your games, stay rational. We will talk to you all next week. I got to send you this Google Doc, Scott.
Yep.
Titles are weak this
No,
week.
you don't. I have it open.
Okay. I saw the titles. I like them still.
Titles!
Thank you, Scott.
Traffic circles.
Why did you read
The
from the
Anthem
bottom?
Alarm. Persona 5 Sanguine.
Of course it's Persona 5 Sanguine. Anytime we can put a percent, I fucking can't get over how good a pull Sanguine is. Oh my god. I should do for the cover of this podcast like an edit where I make the Persona 5 color Sanguine instead of red. I'm good with that.
Sure.
I'll say the episode number. One of y'all can fill in the rest. You're listening to Irrational Passions Podcast, episode 418. Who's going to break first?
Let's do.
Yeah, say it, Scott. Wow, dude. Blasted.
Persona 5 Sanguine.
God fucking damn it. Thanks everybody for watching. We love you all. Have a good night. You guys can stop recording now.